All right, some things are back to normal on the ATP Tour, and that is Carlos Alcaraz winning and Daniil Medvedev winning on the ATP Tour. Big wins for both of them. Tournament wins, not huge events or anything, not Masters 1000s or Grand Slams, but wins that show that they're in the right direction. Carlos's direction is coming back healthy on the tour. Getting a W always feels good. And Medvedev won a pretty big title for him and his confidence level right now, getting him back into the top 10. So we're going to break down those wins as well as the Iga Swiatek Bagel Factory in Doha, Taylor Fritz getting a title in Delray Beach. And we're going to look forward to the next weekend of tournaments on the ATP and WTA tours. So let's get into it. All right. Thanks for being here, people. A show I went to this weekend, let me know of a little thing called a gentleman's agreement. So you can be a gentleman or a woman here. And either way, you're watching our show and we provide you a service, which is the slice, and it's free. But the gentleman's agreement is that you subscribe. So it's kind of like we don't have to check on you because obviously we can't. But if you watch the show and you don't subscribe, you're kind of breaking the bro sister code. You know what I'm saying? So that's the agreement. And if you can uphold your end, then we appreciate it. And we can keep bringing you the slice on a weekly basis. So thanks for subscribing and liking the video and all of the other things below, like the links that are involved. But yeah, Daniil Medvedev back in the winner's circle in Rotterdam, ATP 500. He comes through Jannik Sinner in a pretty great final. Comes from behind after losing the first set to then win 6-2, 6-2 the second and third sets. He is back to the top 10 to number 8. And pretty crazy stat actually from Ben Rothenberg that I learned. This is Daniil Medvedev's biggest career title in the first 7 months of the season. So yeah, like we all kind of knew he was a late season player, but that's a pretty crazy stat. In the first 7 months of the season, this is his biggest ever title. So he's never won, in Australia or the Sunshine Double Swing or in the clay swing or at Wimbledon or in the grass or the French Open. He's only really started to dominate and win big titles going into the US Open and afterwards, which is pretty crazy. So big win for Daniil Medvedev. I just feel like he obviously needs to get his confidence back. And he looked like that today. He looked like he was the guy who shows that his defense is better than your offense. Like Sinner was playing great. He was playing really well all week. He got the big win versus Tsitsipas, obviously. And he took the first set today looking like pretty confident. But then that smothering defense that Medvedev can bring, obviously, kind of proved that his defense was better than Sinner's offense today. And that seemed a little bit more vintage from Medvedev, if you ask me. He hit 20 winners, 17 on forced errors, fairly clean match from him. And up to number 8 again. So he's moving in the direction he wants to be. And like I said previously, I feel like he plays better as the contender. So he plays better as the player trying to get to the top rather than when he was at the top. So we'll see how this goes into. On Twitter, I said, it's going to be interesting to see him at the Sunshine Double. I know it's historically not been a good time for him, but if he's playing confident, it gets more interesting. There's more guys who can win when he's in there because he's definitely one of the guys who can beat almost anyone on a hard court. Indian Wells, for example, not his best surface, but we will see. He plays in Dubai next week. Or sorry, we'll get to that where he plays next week. But yeah, big win for Medvedev in Rotterdam, getting the square. I think that might be a new trophy. Getting the square trophy. Big one. Carlos Alcaraz in Argentina, Buenos Aires in the ATP 250. I said it was a 500 in the last video. That's my bad. The 250 beats Cam Norrie in the final. Fairly easy draw for him. I'm going to put up the draws here, actually. And so that was that. So yeah, wait, let's go back quickly to Medvedev beats Sinner in the final. Come from behind. And then, but Jannik Sinner, like I said, we went through Greek Sport, Wawrinka, and Tsitsipas, and Bonzi. And Medvedev went through Dimitrov, Auger-Aliassime, Van de Zandschulp, and Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. So pretty good week for him as far as players he beat. On to the Argentina Open. Carlos beat Laszlo Djere. Dusan Lajovic, 2 Serbians, then Zapata Morales, and then Cameron Norrie. So not exactly a super dense field for him to go through, but as far as what he did go through to get the title, beating Cam Norrie, solid top player. And Cam Norrie actually plays nice on clay, but Carlos just too good on clay for him. We saw Carlos's backhand. Everything seemed to be firing like it was last year. Everything looks good. He's back on his probably still best surface. Yeah, backhand up the line looked great. Looked like he was playing super aggressive, like we saw. The style of tennis is so much fun to watch. And that was really, really good to see. So, yeah, Carlos wins, beats Cam Norrie in 2. Got a little tight at the end there, but made it through. Now he'll be playing in Rio at the Rio Open next week, which is an ATP 500. But last year it was played this week, so he did drop 250 points this week, but he has the opportunity now to gain 500 points next week, where Djokovic won't be playing. So he could get pretty close to number 1 again actually next week. And he is the defending champion though. So I would take him to win that title if we're gonna be picking people, but we will look at the draw here in a second. Who else won? Taylor Fritz won. Taylor Fritz won, beating Emilio Gomez, Adrian Manarino, Mackenzie McDonald, and Miomir Kecmanovic in the final. So again, not a really dense run for him either, but he gets another title. And apparently next week on the 27th, so the week after next when the ranking comes out, he'll be up to number 5 in the world. I saw on Twitter. So that's pretty big for him. Top 5 player, Taylor Fritz. Did you see it coming? I don't know if I did. But he's really fine-tuned and optimized his game, got the most out of his body, I feel like, and he's gonna, I think, at the US Open, maybe even on the grass, he's gonna be super dangerous to play against, like he was last year. So good win for Taylor Fritz down there in Delray Beach. We don't have the draw up here for the Doha bagel factory of Iga Swiatek, but it was insane. Iga Swiatek gave out at least a bagel in every match she played. She only played 3 because Sakari pulled out or withdrew from her match. Bencic withdrew for her match in the quarterfinals. But Swiatek comes through fairly just routines everyone to win the title. This is about the time, if you guys remember last year, when she started really dominating. So she started around this time, and now the women on the WTA got to get a little worried going into the clay swing. Is it going to be the Iga show again? Is everyone just going to be along for the ride, or are they going to be real contenders? Because last year it got almost silly. It was literally the end or the beginning of each week. The storyline was, will Iga Swiatek win the whole thing, or is she going to finally lose? That was basically the big storyline on the WTA, and it got more competitive at the end of last year and at the Australian Open, obviously with her not winning, but it looks like she's back to her old ways, doesn't it? So that's a good win for Iga. But let's look at some more of let's look at Rio next week. So Carlos Alcaraz, number 1 seed on the top there, playing a wild card from Brazil, Alves. He's got Diego Schwartzman in his quarter, who has been playing atrocious, worst of his career tennis. Then he's got Lorenzo Musetti or Sebastian Baez potentially in the semifinals. And then on the bottom half, it's Cam Norrie, Dominic Thiem's down there, Cerundolo's down there, Juan Manuel, and then Francisco is the 4 seed, Cerundolo there. So actually not a much tougher tournament, really. It's basically the same field, a little bit bigger in Rio as it was in last week. So that's a great opportunity again for Carlos Alcaraz. And like I said, fully expect him to win this title without too much trouble, because everybody else is in Qatar, in Doha. Andre Rublev's the number 1 seed. We got the number 2 seed as our guy Felix Auger-Aliassime. He could play Kubler or Karatsev. And then we got Daniil Medvedev as the 3rd seed and Alexander Zverev as the 4th seed. We got a wild card for Andy Murray in there. We got Dan Evans, number 6 seed. Bautista Agut, 5th seed. Davidovich Fokina, 7th seed. So, yeah, it's going to be good. That's the 250 in Doha there. And then there's also going to be the Provence, Open 13 Provence in Marseille, Montpellier. Marseille. That's Hubert Urkacz, number 1 seed. That is Yannick Sinner, number 2 seed. Alex de Minaur, 3 seed. And Grigor Dimitrov, the 4th seed. So Grigor Dimitrov playing some pretty nice tennis, if you ask me. And did you guys see that match point that he won Forget who that was against. Might have been Demon Hour. That was absolutely nuts and great to see. Grigor Dimitrov still playing some of his best tennis, but kind of finding that again. So last one I'm going to pull up here. We don't have it on the screen here, but we have the draw for Dubai, which is the W1000 in Dubai. We got Iga Swiatek, the number 1 seed on the top, obviously. Leylah Fernandez already winning her match or over Grab her is her name, from Austria. So Fernandez is going to play Swiatek. That's a good one for Canadians to watch. We got Bianca Andreescu playing Rybakina tomorrow. Rybakina. I've already forgot since the Australian Open. Rybakina. And then, yeah, we got Sabalenka as the 2 seed. So this is a big tournament. We got 3 seed Jess Pegula, 5 seed Coco Gauff, 4 seed Caroline Garcia, and that's a deep, interesting, super dense field there with all the best ladies in the world playing. So yeah, that's an exciting next week of tennis as well. But the big winners this week in my book, obviously Iga, she is in a class of her own, but Carlos and Daniil Medvedev get back on track and back in the right direction that they want to be heading, and that's good for them. So we will see what happens next week. We'll see who the winners are, and the Slice will be here to keep you up to date and entertained. Follow me at the Slice Steven on Twitter, which is where I do kind of daily thoughts, things on the matches that I'm watching, etc., etc. Leave your thoughts below, and we will leave you with the outro. Thanks for honoring the gentleman's agreement to subscribe down below. We'll see you next time here on the show.